Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, so it's Topic Thursday today in Unapologetically. And today we are talking about self love and accountability. So I'm going to wait just a little bit to see if some people come on so that we can join in on the conversation when it comes to this topic. Last week, I did talk about how there's three key points to self love, and that was awareness, accountability. And next week is going to be about action. So there are three key points to it. Doesn't mean that there's not any more. It just means that these things are big. These points are really big and huge when it comes to self love. So we'll give a couple minutes or at least a couple of seconds for some people to join. And feel free to join in on the chat as well because your feedback is important. And again, this is about all of us collectively as women sharing and speaking about it and adding your thoughts to it. This isn't just me. The platform wasn't just created for me. The platform was created for women to empower, to inspire, when it comes to self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, just everything about your being. So feel free to type in your comment if you like, or if you like the message, let me know, right? Like it, comment, so that way I can continue doing more of these so we can really talk about it. As women, we don't talk about these things as often. Okay, so let's get into it. So last week I spoke about awareness when it comes to self-love, and you cannot have, you know, you cannot not be aware of whether or not you're on that self-love journey. If you know you're on the self-love journey, you're going to be aware of certain things. Different situations are going to bring about certain things. Um, so the moment you become aware of all of these things, you want to change. And when you are kind of refusing to change, sometimes there's so many things going on in life that that next transition or the move over, we almost feel like it's going kind of fast, and we're like, whoa, I can't really do this. It's fast. The universe will slowly start leading you there, and sometimes it's not slow. Sometimes it's very abrupt, and it's just like, no, you're gonna do this. So when it comes to accountability, you are accountable for yourself. We cannot be the damsels in distress like in the fairy tales. You have to take part in your own journey and holding yourself accountable to those things that you need to be accountable for when it comes to your own self-love. You cannot always count on someone to tell you that you're beautiful. You cannot always count on someone to save you from something that's going out in the world, right? And sometimes people define that as hyper independence, right? My parents grew us up so that we never would depend like on a man. So a lot of the things, yard work that we do wasn't just domesticated, it was also outside work. So a lot of the things that guys can do as far as hedging and stuff like that, and the weeding, all these things we can do. Doesn't mean I want to do it. I'm allergic to grass. I don't want to do it, but the reality is I can if I needed to, right? Hyper independence isn't necessarily a bad thing either. I'm holding myself accountable to the things that I need to hold myself accountable for if no one else was around to help me, right? If I had my daughter at 19, and so at that point in going to full-time school and having to work 2 part-time jobs, I had to also take care of the house. I had to become like this pre-wife so early and so young, and it was ridiculous. But I did what I had to do. I had to hold myself accountable for the fact that I had to be this young parent, this young adult, and take care of this child. But at the same time, taking care of a child, I had to take care of a man too, like my boyfriend at the time, my daughter's father. So all these things, I couldn't sit there and just sit back and do nothing, right? And when things didn't work out, then I really had to hold myself accountable to, oh, I have a child and a single parent. Yeah, he was there helping out on his end, whatever that was. But the reality is whether you're there or not, because we're not in the same household, I have to hold myself accountable to these things. I have to love myself enough to and my kid enough to say this is more just about me, right? I have to show, because she's a girl, I have to show myself that I love myself. And these are the things that I can do to show that I love myself, right? And that was still me going to school. That was still me working the times I need to. And I would say, thank God for my parents supplying the roof over my head, because not many people have that support. But it didn't mean I didn't still have to hustle, that I didn't have to do the things that I needed to do to hold myself accountable for the journey in life that I wanted, right? So after holding myself accountable to those things, it was saying and picturing, what did I want out of my life in the future? I could stare at and see and compare myself to everyone else that seemed to have got it together at that time and didn't have kids and were just living this free flowing life. But I had to almost put up blinders at times and say, that's not my life. I can't compare myself to the life that I don't have, right? Their life is not my life. This is my life. What am I going to do to hold myself accountable during this journey? During that time in my early 20s, I was being emotionally abused. Everything that I had did for the couple years that we were together, nothing was good enough. Nothing was good enough. I was being emotionally abused, making it seem like I wasn't worth it. I wasn't good enough. And some of us to this day, right, struggle with the feeling of I'm not good enough when our partner doesn't choose us. You chose somebody else. You didn't choose me. It must be something wrong with me. And I guess I was fortunate enough in my early 20s to really start working on that self-love journey without realizing it. And when I realized, honestly, I probably didn't realize it was self-love until later in my 20s, maybe my early 30s as well, because I was just doing the work. The work and the healing I was doing was really about what made me feel good. Being single was actually a great part of my self-love journey. I got to know me. I got to know myself. I got to know what I loved and what I did not like, and what I wasn't going to accept either. And some people called it cold. And it's interesting that with women in particular, we're called cold or bitter or angry. No, I'm just learning that I'm not going to take shit from people, right? In particular with men, because of the journey that I had experienced at such a young age. And in my mid 20s, I was going through schooling, my grad school program, right, to become a marriage and family therapist, because I wanted to understand dynamic of family. Um, and I started learning that my boundaries were important, and knowing what was best for me, what was right for me, was important to me. And again, at that time, there wasn't a title to it. I just knew that I had to do this for me. I had to do what made me happy. And I had to show my daughter, okay, these are the things that you could do to be happy as well. Let's ride out to the beach together, right? Just me and you, and that's going to be okay. Let me go and do this, and we're going to go to this museum, and that's going to be okay, right? And then I need some adult time as well, and I'm going to hang out with my friends, and that's going to be okay. I had to learn to be by myself, and I genuinely enjoyed being by myself and single. And because of that, there was no desperation or feeling of needing to be with someone. Were there times that I wanted to share something with someone else, or share a laugh, or go out to the movies with someone? Yeah, sure. But I called up my friends. That was okay. And in our journeys of self-love, we think we have to do this all by ourselves, or with a partner, and we don't. This is why we have our tribe. This is why we pick our tribe. And if your tribe is positive and inspiring and motivating, they're going to help uplift you just as well. So in my self-love journey, I had to hold myself accountable to these things and not depend on other people for that either. So I didn't always go out with my friends, and I couldn't because I had a kid. So I had a parent, right? I had a parent at an early age. So for me, I held myself accountable for the things that my responsibilities that I had to take care of, but as well allowed myself some space to breathe and just be an adult at that time, right? This journey that you're on, a lot of the times we will say, well, I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time to do certain things. Yes, you do. You have time. It doesn't matter how many kids you have. It doesn't matter that you're working. It doesn't matter all these things, because chances are, if you really divvy up the time that you might be scrolling on your phone, you probably had like at least 15 minutes. Or sometimes I hear, oh, I went down the rabbit hole of TikTok, right? And that rabbit hole might be an hour of time. So that hour of time that you chose, hold yourself accountable for needing to use that as self-care, right? And some people might say, well, that is self-care for me. That's not doing anything. Yeah, it can be, but that can also lead to an addiction, right? Of social media use or phone usage. What I'm talking about self-care is unplugging yourself from all that. It's about saying, I'm going to use this hour or this 15 minutes to literally breathe, or to take a bubble bath, or to just to be outside and enjoy myself in nature, feel the wind, or whatever it is that you choose to do at that moment in time. That is self-care, right? We want to be cautious about the unhealthy uses of self-care. Again, like phones can lead to the addiction. Scrolling through social media, yes, that helps you unplug in some type of way, but you're also feeding your brain with various messages that are going on. So you want to be cautious of the things that you do on social media as well, but hold yourself accountable to those things. That's super important in life. And we can't blame other people for the things that you might be doing or not doing, because maybe they're actually prioritizing their time. So be mindful of these things that you are choosing to do and you're choosing not to do. Okay. And granted, some people are really busy. I mean, people are busy. The time goes by fast, right? So just be mindful of those things. Hold yourself accountable. Really prioritize and manage your time well, so that you are adding in some of your self-care, that you are adding in your journaling, that you are adding in, that awareness and that intention to promote your own self-love. Whatever that might look like to you, this is your journey, but hold yourself accountable to it. It's okay that you revert backwards as well, right? Sometimes we do revert back. Um, sometimes I still hear like those mantras of that emotional abuse, saying that I'm not good enough, that imposter syndrome, right? But to me, it might be in different phases, because I'm trying to get myself more out there as far as social media is concerned, and being more of a leader in my own business, and doing these things that I love and enjoy. Imposter syndrome will kick in. But I also have to hold myself accountable and being aware of those mantras that might creep up. And instead of allowing it to consume me, I have to say, I hear you, but not today, right? I hold myself accountable to that. Not today. If I allow it to consume me and allow it to get the best of me, I'm not going to be able to do what I enjoy to do. And that is to network, that is to empower, that is to inspire, and that is to learn too, because I enjoy being a student. I enjoy learning from other people. I enjoy networking and collaborating on certain things. These are the things that I enjoy to do. Find what feels good for you. Find what you want to hold yourself accountable for, and not blame other people for the things that you cannot do, because we can't do that forever, right? We can't always blame, well, I can't do this because of this person. You got to hold yourself accountable. And I know sometimes that feels tough and it feels harsh, but this is your journey and this is your life. It's time that you own that. Okay. So next week on Topic Thursday, we will come back for the third key point, which is action when it comes to self love. So join me next week. Let's talk about it. Let's empower, let's inspire, let's comment, share some of your stories if you wish as well. I wish everybody to have a great weekend. I'll see you then. Bye.